Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
Let me tell you, the dopamine, it's flowing.
I am damn excited. Damn excited.
That's a terrible drum roll. Oh!
Boy, how you doing, man? Patrick.
Will, Sterling.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
He picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score!
And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.
Welcome. This is Wacky Wednesday on the Arrowhead Addict channel. I'm Adam Best, joined as always by Sterling Holmes. And we've got some bad news for you. This is likely the last Wacky Wednesday ever, but the good news is that we're moving to Friday. So Wacky Wednesday is now Freaky Friday, 3 p.m. Central, right here on the Arrowhead Addict channel. That's our new time for Sterling and I, and it's exciting. I think it's we're going to be able to prime everybody for the weekend, especially in the season, doing those game previews. Sterling, are you excited about the move?
I am thrilled. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Everyone's thrilled by it. I'm hearing the applause. It's phenomenal. Yeah, no, I'm very excited about it. I think Friday's going to be a little better. We get a preview heading into the weekend's game. Over to Thursday Night Football game, that means we get to recap it. Yeah, the first one.
There you go. And we've kind of been sandwiched in. No complaints. I love Wednesday. We did a lot of fun stuff, a lot of kind of like big picture content, but we've been sandwiched in between usually a Tuesday show, which is the real in-depth recap, and then the Thursday show, which is the big preview. And now we'll be able to do a little bit more of the previewing ourselves, but also all the great content and weird content you've come to love and expect from Wednesday. We'll just be moving to a new day. Are you ready for the draft, man? I see that you've been working out that mocking muscle, and we're gonna do some more mock drafting today.
Let's do it. Let's have some fun.
So everyone brings their own wrinkle to the mock draft. I thought what we would do differently today is we'll do a defensive one first and then an offensive one second. So in the first mock draft, only defensive players are eligible. And in the second mock draft, only defensive players are eligible. I think we're only going to go through 4 rounds, focus on those most important selections from the Chiefs. I mean, I have some deep sleepers that we're going to talk about later in the show. Last week we had the All-Wacky Team Part 1. Today is Part 2, the second 5 players. So I just figured that, sometimes you do these mock drafts and you don't get to go through all the scenarios because the board falls weird, and you don't get to talk about a defensive player or an offensive player that the Chiefs could seriously look at. So this just makes sense to me. We are going to use PFF, their mock draft simulator. The Chiefs, 4 rounds. I'm going to keep all the other settings the same, and we're going to enter this sucker. Now, we can trade. And I've kind of suspected all along, we've heard reports this week that the Vikings are interested in trading back because they only have like 4 picks or something in this draft.
Not a ton.
So the Vikings at 24, if the Chiefs want to move up. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of that. They want to trade back. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm 98% certain nobody is trading back, allowing the Chiefs to trade back in the first round. Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I think the 5th round option has become entirely overblown, especially when it comes to quarterback specifically. The reason being is if you're a good quarterback, you're not seeing the 5th-year option anyways. You're getting paid after year 3. So the 5th-year option has somewhat become, I think, overvalued by potential fans. Same thing with a lot of premium positions. If you're that good, you're getting paid after year 3. That's more or less what I think. I mean, we've been talking about Trent McDuffie. Do we think he's going to see that 5th-year option, or do we think he's going to get an extension? He's probably going to get an extension because he's a cornerback who's really damn good. The only time I think that the 5th-year option really matters is for running backs, linebackers, safeties, kind of the non-premium spots. That personal opinion. So I do think that the 31 spot, when we've all said, well, the 5th-year option, I think it's a little overblown when we're talking about guys like maybe Tyler Shug or Jalen Milroe.
It used to matter more. Even with safeties, you point out safeties. I don't expect Kyle Hamilton to make it to his 5th-year option. Do you?
No.
And guys like we pointed this out last week, Justin Jefferson and the like, they don't really make it there. And I just think that to move up into the 1st from another round from the 2nd, it takes quite a bit of ammo. No one's going to want to hand that ammo to the Chiefs in particular. I also think in terms of trading up, you don't want to be one of these teams that only trades up. I think in the later rounds, the Chiefs should consider trading back to pick up additional draft picks, additional bites at the apple, if you will. But when you pick at 30, 31, or 32 every year, there's never going to be an obvious blue chip player on the board at pretty much any position. I mean, maybe you'll get a center like Creed Humphrey or a guard. Outside of that, I just don't expect a guy that's going to be a clear, like, Pro Bowl, all pro level player probably to be on the board at that point. But could you see one being there at 22, at 24? And if the Chiefs plan on picking this late during the entire Mahomes era, and I think they likely will, how are you going to give yourselves opportunities to get those players, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes on this monster contract? So trading up, I know you're not a proponent of it in this particular draft class. Are there any players here before we start the simulator? Say, I know you like, Kenneth Grant from Michigan. I like both Derek Harmon and Walter Nolan from Ole Miss and Oregon, respectively, if we're talking about defensive tackles. I like Grant too. Colston Loveland, he's my tight end 1. If he was sitting there at 24, I think I would make an exception for him. I know Josh Simmons is a possibility if the Chiefs think his health checks out. I see you shaking your head there.
Yeah, no. Is Andy Heck still the offensive line coach? When was the last tackle that developed here in Kansas City? When was the last time the Chiefs drafted a guy as a rookie and let them actually play at left tackle? Oh, Eric Fisher. You know why? Because the Chiefs were ass then. The Chiefs are good now. They don't have time to let a rookie go through his growing pains. You ain't getting Alt at 31 on the left side even. Alt's playing right tackle right now, by the way, guys. No, I am team for the Kansas City Chiefs hardly ever, at least in the Patrick Mahomes era, drafting a left tackle because it makes no sense. You're not going to give him time to develop unless they're a stud year 1. That's what it comes down to. And you're not getting a stud at 31. So what do I mean when I say the Chiefs shouldn't draft a tackle? I mean, they should basically do the Orlando Brown Jr. method, what they're trying to do right now with Jalen Moore. The issue is if they get a guy like Orlando Brown Jr. again here in KC, they're going to keep him. It took 2 to tango. Orlando Brown Jr. messed that up, and I'm sure he probably wishes he was still here in KC, right? I think both parties realize their mistake now. But if you can get a 8 to 12 left tackle, the Chiefs might have to overpay for that. I get it. But that's a spot that I'm willing to overpay at because Kingsley Sumatia might be a good left tackle. We will never bleep and know because he's not going to get the opportunity here in Kansas City. After 2 games, they said you're a guard. After 2 games, they said you're so bad right now because you are a rookie who is raw, which we knew when we drafted you. They knew he was raw, but you're going to get 2 games. If you're not good in 2 games, sorry, you're done. And I get it because the Chiefs are in win now mode. That's what happens when you win. The Panthers, he's playing 17 games. He might be good next year. Doesn't matter. You won't find that out here in KC because you know why? Aspirations, Super Bowls. That's what matters here. And you can't get Patrick hurt. So you got to have a veteran because rookies don't hit that early.
And your point about Eric Fisher, he was the first overall pick. If he's not playing right away, like what are we doing here? But we keep making this point. And to be fair, Andy Reid and Andy Heck have done a great job developing the interior of the offensive line during their tenures in Kansas City. They've been here together 12 years, the Andys. I think usually come playoff time, despite some hurdles in the regular season, that unit usually finds cohesion and gels. Last year, it did not. In 2020, it did not. And their Achilles heel has been developing and drafting and developing the tackle position. They've never had one offensive tackle that they've drafted exceed expectations. They've all underwhelmed, every single one of them, all 5 of them. There's really no other way to say it unless you're sugarcoating it. So I think I'm on the same page with you, where I would rather them pick another position where I have a little bit more confidence that they could do well. And by the way, if they put Orlando Brown Jr., Andy Reid, and Brett Veach under true serum, I think they'd all say all parties would be better off if they were still together. I really believe it was a mistake for all 3 of them to walk away from that, because I know Orlando Brown Jr. isn't a perfect player, but he is the best tackle Mahomes has had in the post-Fisher-Schwartz era. I don't think it's particularly even that close. Jawan Taylor, I expected Jawan Taylor to be better than Orlando Brown Jr. because of the athleticism. You did not. I give you a lot of credit on that one. You were saying, I don't know about this guy. So if we're not looking, let's say this first one's defense. Okay, so we're not looking at offensive tackle. What positions are you interested in? Is it anywhere in the defense? BPA, best player available?
I mean, yeah, to an extent BPA, but if all things are equal, give me the defensive tackle.
Okay.
Give me the defensive tackle. I'd go D tackle 1, edge rusher 2, cornerback 3. I think sneakily you could see a linebacker 4, then safety 5 in the first round. But I think for me, it's defensive tackle is pretty much the clear-cut number 1. Again, depending on player, of course, and how much of a gap there is between the defensive tackle and an edge rusher and a corner. But I think if you took one of those 3 positions, I would be I could talk myself into it.
I'm going to flip-flop with you on safety and linebacker. I don't think there's a linebacker for the Chiefs that I would pick in the first round. I do think there are a couple safeties that if they slipped, I would consider them. I don't know that they'll make it to 31, though. So I wanted to talk about trading up because I think it's a possibility a week from now, but we're not going to do it in this exercise. We're just going to stick with those picks to keep things from getting too complicated. Okay, so let's rev things up and see who's on the board at 31. Okay. This PFF board is a lot different. They just updated the players. Their top defensive player is defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott.
Oh,
and they
whoa. He was like supposed to be like a 4th rounder.
People are all over the place on him. I think we can look at what he is at the Beast.
I like Omar Norman Lott, by the way. That's not a shot on him. I like him a lot. I feel like I've seen him as more of a 3rd rounder than a first. I've not seen him in any first round.
No, and you're right. The Beast has him at 15th overall among defensive tackles. Now, I like him as a pass rusher a lot, but I don't think he has any business being above Derek Harmon, right? Gosh. So this is one reason why mocking this year has been difficult. I think PFF has diverged even more from the consensus rankings more than normally. We got Nick Skirton from Texas A&M.
Love it.
We got Benjamin Morrison, corner from Notre Dame, Xavier Watts. Landon Jackson, the edge from Arkansas. He's been climbing.
I like Skirton over him. I talked about this yesterday with Briscoe. I have a pretty cutoff. I think Nick Skirton right there, and then I think decent gap, and then Landon. I think Landon's going to be a good player, but I think Nick is going to be more. I think Nick has a higher floor than Landon, and I think the ceilings are comparable.
Landon Jackson is more of a traits guy, I think. But here's where it gets really interesting. I don't know why Derek Harmon is 42nd on PFF's list, because in the overall beast, Brugler has him, I think, like 21st. Let's look at this. Somewhere around there. No, he has him 16th overall.
Yeah,
so,
I think Derek Harmon would be the answer. I mean, if he's, PFF, I don't know about. Yeah, they're stoned.
What are they smoking over there? I'm kind of at a place now with this draft class where I just want one of these top, not the top.
Yeah, dog, you're roboting right now. Yeah, you're roboting hard right now, Adam. And now you're just staring at the camera. I love that. No, I want his stare back in the camera, just eyeing all of you watchers and listeners down. I think, by the way, what he said, I'm rolling with Derek Harmon at 31, if that's the case. I'm hard pressed to believe that Derek Harmon, again, D tackle from Oregon, would be there. KCDC says Slothy wants a pump blocker. Yeah, round 1. That's what we want, baby. Pump blocker only. Well, you got one. You got Leo. He's kicks. All right, Adam. You're muted. I like your dance move though. Your little dance was great. Show the dance again.
I should not be. Can you hear me now?
They do call you Adam Technical Difficulties Best. They do call you that.
Well, they don't. Get out of here. I may need a new mic though. That is pretty apparent at this point. Sorry about that. Yeah, Derek Harmon. I think some people have him landing at late first round. I don't know if he's going to make it to 31, but what I was saying is that group of defensive tackles expected to go in the mid to late first round, where you have Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, who could slide a little bit maybe because of character concerns. I don't think he'll be there at 31, and Derek Harmon. If either of them, any of those three are there at 31, you run to the podium. You don't even need your full 15 minutes. So I think we're united here that Derek Harmon, because he's the one that's left out of these three, is the no-brainer choice if we're going defensive draft here.
Yeah, I don't think it's even close.
Pull the trigger on him. Now let's see who's there at 63. Interestingly enough, Omar Norman Lott is still there at 63 because they're using the consensus rankings to draft, not to rank. So you have him, you have the usual suspects that I named earlier: Kevin Winston Jr., safety Penn State; Benjamin Morrison, cornerback Notre Dame. You have Oladejo, the edge from UCLA; Andrew Makuba, who I'm a big fan of, the safety from Texas. I think it's a little early for him too. His ADP is 86. You have, let's see, who's the next defensive player? Josiah Stewart, the edge from Michigan; CJ West, D tackle from Indiana. Now, where do you line up on double dipping defensive tackle? Would you be down with the defensive tackle double tap?
Yeah, but not at 1 and 2. First off, I still think second round is too high for Omar. Omar Norman Lott?
Yes.
Omar
Norman Lott. It's a hard one to say for some reason. I think it's just the steady flow of O's.
I like him, but just I don't even like him in the second round. I thought third round, although the Chiefs have 63 and 66. So,
man, if we're doing defense only, this is why I think it's very important to get a defensive player with that first pick. I don't really love the defensive players here. I'm going down the list. My guy, Darian Porter, the cornerback from Iowa State, is off the board. Man, I really do like Andrew Makuba, though.
Do it to him.
I think he's going to go higher than the third round. I get that people are worried about his size, but if you kind of I don't want to say ignore the size concerns, but if you don't overreact to them, I think this is a second round talent. Pull the trigger.
Pull it.
He's the only guy I really like there. And then at 66, we still have Omar Norman Lott. I have a feeling if we just keep going, he's just going to keep being there. I can't believe he's 27th overall in this.
Yeah, I'd take him in the fourth.
I'm looking at some new names that are
Or even
popping up.
the second, third round draft pick the Chiefs possess.
Yes, we are at 66. Well, this is technically pick 2 of round 3.
Yeah.
De facto second round. I mean, very close. I am not, we have.
Or is 63 de facto third round? Best.
We are.
Boom. Mind
Yeah,
blown.
we are. We already picked a safety. So Lathan Ransom.
Oh, I love Lathan Ransom. What are you doing to me, Best?
I don't
can't
like him.
see. You didn't share your screen. I'm left in the dark.
He is ranked considerably after Andrew Makuba, who I like better, but it sounds like you might like Ransom better.
I like Ransom a lot, and it's a great name.
Well, I wasn't going to let you.
Name. He's taking the offense for Ransom. Are you kidding me? The shirts write themselves, Best.
I know, but I wasn't going to let you hold that pick for Ransom because I really like Makuba. So Jordan Phillips, another defensive tackle from Maryland. There's a guy I like all the way down at 99, Jordan Birch. And he's from Oregon. We talked about him last week. He's an edge. The fact that he's 99 in here, PFF has lost its mind once again, because if you go back to Brugler's Beast, he's in the top 100. He's 52nd overall. And I like the idea of pairing 2 defensive linemen who played in college together. Why? Well, look at what the Los Angeles Rams did last year with Braden. Is it Fisk or Fiske? I always get that confused. And oh God, Rookie of the Year.
Jared Verse.
They paired those guys up after they played together in Florida State. They had instant chemistry on and off the field. I think it was an accelerant to their development. I just like the idea of pairing 2 guys together.
I like Jordan Birch.
Okay. Well, then that is number 66.
What, 8.5 sacks in 10 games last year, something like that? Yeah, 8.5 sacks in 10 games last year.
And I don't even think he's grown into his full potential like we discussed last week. I think right now he's just accustomed to winning with the bull rush, with power, just being bigger and stronger and better than everybody. But if he develops a full arsenal of moves, watch out. We're going to pull the trigger on Jordan Birch, edge, Oregon, as the 66th overall pick. So now we see who's there at 95 defensively. And Kevin Winston Jr., the safety from Penn State, still there. Oladejo from UCLA is still there. Let's see. Aston Gillot. I think that's how you say his name. The edge from Louisville.
Pronounced gelato. It's not ice cream, but it's nice. It's Italian.
Is it pronounced gelato? You don't know. Dorian Strong, cornerback, Virginia Tech. Savion Jones, edge, LSU. Jamari Caldwell. And we could go Oregon again. I mean, we could triple tap Oregon. That would be wild. Jacob Parrish, the corner from Kansas State. I know there's a lot of local intrigue with him. RJ Mickens, safety, Clemson. Jeffrey Bassa, linebacker, Oregon. I mean, different kind of Oregon triple tap, but I think the Chiefs could use another linebacker.
I think Dorian Strong's interesting from Virginia Tech because he's 6'1". Like, he feels kind of Spagsian.
He does feel kind of Spagsian. And let's look at where he's ranked in the Beast, in the top 100 there. He's 13th overall. They have him as a 4th round grade, but once you get in the 3rd, this stuff fluctuates. So PFF is a little higher on him. Dane Brugler is a little lower on him. I'm good with Dorian Strong there. I mean, let's see his official traits. I'm going to look at the arm length. 6'1", 185, 31-inch arms. Not bad. I mean,
the Dockster's in. Can we see the PFF simulation, please? I would love to, Dockster. Adam is just hoarding his screen from us because he's looking at unsavory things, apparently. Can't show us.
We tried to do this in the past, and it just was not very functional live streaming the PFF simulator. You want to go with Dorian Strong?
I would love to.
Okay. We're going to do that. And that's going to take us to the final pick of this defensive only mock draft exercise. 133. Very interesting. Wide receiver Kyle Williams is there. I know we're not doing offense here, but geez, at 133, that would be a hell of a pick.
Oh, is Kobe Bryant still there? DFN Lone Wolf asks, and I also think Kobe Bryant would be interesting. Corner from KU.
Let's just look at cornerbacks. Even though we just picked a corner. No, the top corner on the board is Robert Longerbeam from Rutgers, and then Zy Alexander from LSU. If you want to look at any other positions, what do you think?
Robert Longerbeam is a great name.
I mean, he sounds like
long arms, 31.5-inch arms, 5'11". Ran a 4.39. Ooh.
I have some. Just wait until later in the show. I have some long corner arms for you.
They think he's going to be an inside corner. The Chiefs need that nickel corner. Ooh.
Do they, though? Or do they want to play Trent McDuffie in there?
No, they need one. McDuffie on the outside.
Okay. Well, that's like your opinion, dude. Let's see. Defensive tackle. Ty Robinson. He is 12th ranked on the Beast out of Nebraska. Let's give Chris Jones some help, people. What do you think?
Do what you want and then tell the doctors in who all we have. This is the defense only draft. That Best has bogarted.
I knew you were going to say that.
When have I ever said bogarted? When have you ever heard me say that in my entire life?
I don't know why when you get on the same wavelength, we've been hosting the show together for 3 years. Sometimes you just tapped in, dialed into the same frequency. I like Billy Bowman Jr., the safety out of Oklahoma. I think he and Makuba are the kind of players, maybe Ransom as well, that the Chiefs could use. Their safety just kind of needs a center fielder, right?
Mike Edwards, baby. He's back. Told you no one believed me.
No one
believed me.
It was a great call, but he's back for now. Do you want to go with Ty Robinson? I feel like he's the best fit on the board.
Tie the knot on Ty.
Let's do it. Ty Robinson, defensive tackle, Nebraska at pick 133 in the 4th round. So we're going to see our draft. I don't really care for their grade. We selected at 31 overall in the 1st round, defensive tackle Derek Harmon out of Oregon. In round 2, pick 63 overall, we picked Andrew Makuba, the heat-seeking missile safety out of UT. That's Texas, not Tennessee. Round 3, 66th overall, we picked edge Jordan Birch, specifically to pair him with his college teammate Derek Harmon. Round 3, the 95th pick overall, we picked Dorian Strong, the corner out of Virginia Tech. And then round 4, 133 overall, defensive tackle Ty Robinson, Nebraska. The traits don't jump off the page, but I think he's a really good player. So that is our defensive only class. Now we're going to shift and do an offense only class. You ready?
All right. How do we think we did, chat? Were we? Or were we? Giving me the power of a board was a dangerous move, because now I can just play some music over here and just jam. Huh? You like that? Or I can even say, hey, what the is going on, boys? Like, I can do all this stuff now. It's like I'm a 90s sitcom.
Where was the do we have a laugh track, a Seinfeldian laugh track?
No, just the applause.
Okay.
The applause.
That's pretty good. But we needed the what the beep for PFF's ranking because they have made this exercise difficult. Yeah. Now, let's jump into our second mock, the offense only version. We're going with the Chiefs again, of course. Okay, let's see who's there. James Pierce. Gray Zabel is the top offensive player, tackle, North Dakota State. Josh Connerly, Jr., tackle, Oregon. I think those guys are not going to be scheme fits for the Chiefs.
I don't know. Connerly's been mocked to KC so much. I'm shocked.
This is going to be really tough. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. I was on him at first, but the more I've looked into him, I am getting Keon Coleman vibes, especially after hearing what friend of the show, Matt Harmon, had to think of him. Jack Besh, I love this dude. This dude would destroy in an Andy Reid system. I mean,
because his last name is so close to your last name, of course.
But he's a yak monster. He catches everything you throw at him. The only thing he lacks is deep speed. No one can bring him down. I don't know. Short intermediate, he gets open at will. He can block. I think he's very Chiefsy, and I don't think it's only he or Rashee Rice could be in the slot 100% of the time. They probably switch. And if you're losing Travis Kelce opposite Rashee Rice, wouldn't you try to fill that role with someone who brought a similar skill set? Now, he's not a tight end, but when he came into LSU, he was a hybrid tight end. And as a freshman, hybrid wide receiver tight end, this is who he had more yards than receiving. Malik Davers, Brian Thomas, Trey Palmer. I'm missing one pro player. So very impressive player. I think this is a bit high for him, but I'm looking at everyone. Donovan Jackson, tackle Ohio State. Cam Scatabo.
No, not the first. Come on.
No, I know.
By the way, Burley Sullivan, great call. TCU wide receivers in the NFL have been gross. Yeah, I'm with you, Burley.
That's helmet scouting. I understand the impulse, but you could have done that with Patrick Mahomes and said, "Oh, gosh, these Texas Tech quarterbacks, they're all system quarterbacks." You know what I mean?
They're always outliers. I said the same thing with CJ Stroud. I'm always like, don't draft Ohio State quarterbacks. And then I go, but CJ Stroud is different. Boom. There's always outliers. That the exception to the rule.
I was extremely low on Quentin Johnston a couple draft cycles ago. I could not have been lower on him. I thought he was Keon Coleman-esque.
You couldn't have been lower on him? Pause, best.
Oh,
brother.
Oh, boy. We're in trouble here. We're in trouble here for an offensive-only draft because there isn't a true traitsy tackle on the board. We can't trade. And, the top receivers we're looking at are second-round guys. Same with the running backs. Here is an idea, though.
Wait, so time out. Amarian Hampton's not there.
Travion Henderson is there, and Caleb Johnson.
Okay.
So Caleb Johnson, running back, Iowa. Travion Henderson, running back, Ohio State. Here's how I feel about Travion Henderson. I want to see if you feel similarly. Kind of a poor man's Jahmyr Gibbs. And if the Chiefs, obviously, if you look at the running backs Andy Reid has brought in recently, he's not really valuing speed. He likes someone to be a bit of a meat shield. Well, why don't you let Pacheco be Thomas Jones and you bring in Travion Henderson to be Jamal Charles? You give him 12 electric touches a game, and they're going to infuse the offense with an element of explosiveness, with that home run hitting ability that's been missing for a few years now. He's the one guy at 31 that I feel like might be worth the big swing.
Yeah, here's what they say, according to a anonymous NFC director of scouting. They love him in the program. He's unselfish, really productive, can play on all three downs, and is about the team first. That feels like someone the Chiefs need, especially at running back.
Yeah, and Caleb Johnson is great. I just think he's such a zone running fit that I don't know that he's going to be the perfect match for Kansas City. I think our hand's been forced to go with Travion Henderson earlier than we'd like to here, because he's probably the highest ceiling offensive player available.
Yeah, I think that's the way we have to do it.
All right. At 31, we are picking Travion Henderson, running back, Ohio State. Done. Let's see who's here at 63. Old reliable Omar Norman Lott, of course. Top offensive players, Dylan Sampson, running back, Tennessee. Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State.
Yeah,
I like him. I like Kyle Williams out of wide receiver out of Washington State. We mentioned him before. He's really soaring up draft boards. You have Quinshawn Judkins, Henderson's teammate. You could get really wacky and double dip with Ohio State running backs. We'd probably get fired before we even made our 3rd round pick if we did that. Oh, a member of the All-Wacky Wednesday team and someone who's pretty high on Brugler's top 100, Ariante Ursary, tackle, Minnesota. He has the traits the Chiefs are looking for. You're not in on him, though.
You told you I don't want any traitsy tackle. I'm done.
Okay.
In the first couple of rounds, at least. What are the Chiefs going to do? They're going to say, yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're going to actually let him actually develop here. We're going to play him 17 games. We're going to see what he can give us. No, they'll say, oh my gosh, he had one bad game. Oh, sorry, he's pulled. Sorry. And I don't blame them. Sorry, Donovan Smith, come over here. You're going to have to save us. No. Give me Royals. These O's ain't royal.
I'm still operating in a theoretical space where they would actually develop the guy. I'm going to throw one more name at you. Well, unfortunately, I thought the tight end, I thought Arroyo might be there. He's not, but Trey Harris, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, is there. Brugler picked him today. I don't really know who I prefer between Kyle Williams, Jalen Royals, and Trey Harris. I don't have a strong take there. Do you have a strong take or preference?
I prefer Trey Harris, but the chat says Royals, and I am a man of the people.
Well, then let's go with Royals. Unless you just have a very strong preference towards Trey Harris.
I say double down. You have 63 and 66. Hey, screw it, best. It's offense only.
I am feeling very burned by Ole Miss receivers after Jonathan Mingo a few years ago. So I'm just a little hesitant there, but let's go with Jalen Royals. Let's give the people what they want at 61. I'm all about that. Wide receiver out of Utah State. I think he'll make a fine, reliable number 2 if he can clean up his route running a little bit, kind of possession guy, which is something they need. And let's see who's here at 66. Well, Kyle Williams, Ursary, and Trey Harris are still there. Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU, is there. That's something they could look at. I'm not as high on him. I'm not going to mention the other running backs like Damian Martinez and whatnot. Ozzie Trapillo, the Boston College tackle, who's like, I don't know, 7'4". He's huge. He's huge. And that's about as far as I'll go. I'll throw out tight end Terrence Ferguson. So our real decision here is, if you're Brett Veach, you're going to say, you know what? I'm not even going to give the Andes an offensive tackle because they're going to screw up developing him. They're not going to be able to play him. They're not going to trust him. Patrick is not going to trust him. So we're going to go with another position. We're going to give them another wide receiver, which we have actually seen the Chiefs' ability to onboard rookie receivers. That's improved these last couple of years because Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy had really good rookie years by the end. So, man, I'm kind of liking Kyle Williams. I like Trey Harris too. Do we want to go with another receiver here?
You're allowed to do this. You make final call. This is the best mock.
If it was me, I would pick Ariante Ursary because
then do it. Then pick your Ursary.
I just don't feel comfortable double dipping receivers here. I think the fans in Kansas City will kill us if we don't walk away with a tackle.
Well, I doubt they'll kill us. That's a charge, my guy. I'm not. Come on.
Well,
that feels extreme, best.
Figuratively, they'll kill us. But we're going to go with Ariante Ursary. I'm putting my neck on the line here. I know this is not what Sterling will do. I don't think you have a problem with the player, by the way. I think you have a problem with the way the coaching staff would use this player, would develop and get them never into the starting lineup. So, but I'm going to pick him at pick 66. Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota, the left tackle. And now we're at 95. And hey, we're rewarded by our strategy because Kyle Williams, wide receiver, Washington State, is still on the board.
Ooh.
Yeah. Harold Fannin Jr., another Wacky Wednesday, All-Wacky Team guy, is there at 102. he's a very polarizing player, but I like him a lot. I think he's very scheme dependent, but if you put a yak machine like that, kind of a Jonnu Smith type player with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they will know how to utilize that guy.
Yeah, he might be polarizing, but just like my sunglasses, I like him polarized. So come on. I'm a fanning guy. What?
I'm a fanning guy too. Yeah, it was great. I'm a fanning guy too. He made the All-Wacky Team. I think we got to do it. You got to stick with your guns. Harold Fannin Jr., this should ignite the chat. People either love him or they hate him. You want to do it? Tight end, Bowling Green?
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at our offensive draft class. And what I want to know from the chat, we haven't done 133 yet. I almost robbed us of a pick. Oh, this is exciting because we waited on wide receiver and Kyle Williams is still here somehow, which is crazy to me. But there are two other receivers I really like, not to steal my thunder from later, but Isaac Tesla, wide receiver, Arkansas, one of the best athletic profiles you will ever see in a wide receiver. And we'll get to this later, but in that MVS role, a big, fast receiver like him that can block would be great. You have Torrey Horton, the wide receiver out of Colorado State. I think he's had some injury problems, but a lot of you guys will remember 2 seasons ago, he went nuclear against the Colorado Buffaloes in a big game. We've got Travis Etienne's little brother, Trevor Etienne. Let's see. Are we thinking about, Seth McLaughlin? We're not going to pick a center. I mean, that's the
Kyle Williams is the right answer if he would ever be available this late.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's look at where he's ranked in the beast. Twelfth receiver overall.
Ooh.
He shouldn't be there. Let's go with Kyle Williams.
Would be silly not to. It'd be malpractice.
Yeah. Okay, so here is the offensive draft class. I jumped the gun earlier, but now it is ready. First round, pick 31, Travion Henderson, running back, Ohio State. Second round, pick 63, Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State. Round 3, pick 66, Ariante Ursary, tackle, Minnesota. Round 3, pick 95, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end, Bowling Green. And round 4, pick 133 overall, Kyle Williams, wide receiver, Washington State. I'm feeling a bit Detroit Lions about this. I feel like in the future, if all these guys turn out, or most of them, and you just ignore where we picked Travion Henderson, you'll feel pretty good about this draft. If you can just kind of not freak out about picking a running back in the first round.
Is James Brown here? Because I feel good. To make me want to get up off of that thing.
Is this the better class or is the defensive class better? I guess the chat will have to decide.
Yeah, I like KCDC. I thought we weren't doing these after the perfect Holmes Briscoe mock. Yeah, that's true. The Holmes Briscoe mock is getting hung in the Louvre. That thing was just perfection. It was
Well, that's why we're doing these thought experiments of offense and defense, because you simply cannot top what you guys did yesterday. And Price Carter has been working genuine miracles for months now. So, hey, we're just kind of exploring this. PFF gave the Travion Henderson pick at 31 an F. And I say F you for that. I disagree. He's the best player on the board. All right. Well, that wraps up our mock drafting. Let's move on to our next segment, and that is part 2 of the All-Wacky Team, the inaugural All-Wacky Team. And it probably will be the only All-Wacky Team since we're moving to Friday. I mean, next year it'll probably be the All-Freaky Team. So what is the All-Wacky Team?
The All-Freaky Team sounds a little bad.
A little risque.
Hey.
A little risk. We may have to workshop that a little bit, okay? So what is the All-Wacky Team? Exciting players who are being a bit overlooked for one reason or another. So basically funky players I see surplus value in.
Funky Friday. There we go. Nailed it. Funky Friday.
Funky Friday? Okay. Funky Friday. I like that. Freaky Friday just conjures maybe a little bit too much Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, you and me just replaces. So guys, I love PFF. It's a really good jumping off point. We're gonna go with Oriente Ursary. My name's Adam Best.
Ariante Ursary was actually they're too low on PFF.
Yeah,
he's too low. So
was that a good impression? Do one of me, Best. Do one of me.
It was terrible. I'm gonna have to work on that impression of
you.
I
did it just now. Come on.
God, what do you say a lot? It behooves them. You say that a lot. You say they were you say bamboozled. God, you have like the alliteration. I'm trying to think what it is, and it's escaping me right now.
You'll get there.
I'll get there. I'm gonna have to work on this off the air and bring it back to you. So the players from last week's part 1 of the All-Wacky Team, Andrew Makuba, free safety, Texas, drafted him today. Harold Vannon Jr., tight end, Bowling Green, drafted him today. Bashal Tootin, running back, Virginia Tech. Last week, I accidentally called him Brashal Tootin. I don't know why. It just, to me, it sounded better in my head, but it is Bashal Tootin. And Ariante Ursary, left tackle, Minnesota. We drafted him again. Jordan Birch, edge, Oregon. We drafted him again. So 4 of these 5 guys we drafted in a mock today. And Tootin wasn't a possibility because of how the board fell. But I like what I like, guys. So number 1 for this week out of the 5 is the previously mentioned Isaac Tesla, wide receiver out of Arkansas. Chiefs fans, you're going to love him. He's got a luscious mullet. My comp for him is bigger MVS with functioning hands. You got to have hands that actually function, or the traits, all that 6'4" size and all that blazing speed doesn't matter. He is an athletic phenom, 16th best relative athletic score among receivers since 1987. That's a long time, dude. Since 1987, top 20 there, 6'4", 215. So he's actually bigger than MVS. He's about 15 pounds bigger. MVS is a svelte 200 pounds at 6'4". It's pretty skinny, dude. I mean, that's like my size. 4'4", 40 and a 40-inch vert. Great hands. Never dropped the ball. Had 100 targets at Arkansas. Never dropped the ball. He played through a broken hand his sophomore year at Hillsdale College. Now it's Division II, but with a broken hand, he put up 5.22 yards per route run, which is pretty crazy. I don't care where you played. That is a mind-blowing number. He excels as a blocker. I think that will translate in Kansas City. And I think he's got the combo of deep speed and yak weapon that make him a theoretical stylistic fit. So again, this guy's a project, probably going to go in the 5th round. Maybe he could sneak into the 4th. Why is he being undervalued? Because of limited production in 2 years at Arkansas. And I think this is the reason that happened. I didn't watch a ton of Arkansas, but I dug into this a little bit. It's kind of a goofy offense where they rotate receivers a lot. And there's a kid named Armstrong who's in this draft class too. So there was talent around him. And they had a quarterback that basically, to be nice, can't throw. They have a quarterback who can't throw. So, I mean, you're an SEC fan, right? You're a Mizzou fan. You've probably seen Arkansas play.
They're buns, dude.
Yeah. So their offense is just piss poor. What are you going to do if you're a receiver in a piss poor offense? You're going to struggle probably. So I like this kid a lot as a Justin Watson replacement. I think is who can offer a little bit more versatility. If they don't have a receiver when the 4th run rolls around, when the 5th rolls around, maybe even the 6th, if he slips, this would be a good player. Are there any wide receivers? I know we talked about a few of them, but are there any like deeper ones you have your eye on, or are you just out on this wide receiver class?
Yeah, I have to look more. He's interesting, obviously, and Tesla's great. And anytime there's a guy that has a mullet, I'm going to be him and Gardner Minshew would have just great powers together.
No kidding. And the name's Tesla. I mean, he's electric by nature. What are you going to do?
Wasn't that Edison?
Edison? Oh, I got it. Okay. Number 2. Marcus Yarns, running back from Delaware, which, as we all know, is the alma mater of both Brett Veach and former quarterback Matt Nagy, the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens, crazy name. My comp for him is a jetpack strapped to a hummingbird. This dude is small. He is like 5'11", probably not even that, 190. So, but he averaged 6.6 yards per carry. And you're going to say, well, that was against FCS competition, right? But if you look at the Penn State game, and I think with these smaller school prospects like Harold Fannin, like Marcus Yarns, you really have to put a microscope on those games against bigger competition. I know the Chiefs did that with Sky Moore, and Sky Moore, I don't know, he probably didn't perform as well as you would have liked maybe in some of those situations, but he ripped off a 66-yard touchdown against Penn State. So he showcased his home run speed in big spots. So he was one of 7 players in the combine, the entire combine, who was asked to work out at multiple positions. They had him work out as a running back and a receiver. So I'm seeing a little bit of a smaller Jerick McKinnon and a little bit of a bigger Tutu Atwell. And I know the Chiefs have kind of gotten into trouble with a player like this in the past, Deontay Thomas, right? But this kid's going to go later. I like him. Natural receiver. I think he's going to end up running a much bigger tree than most normal backs. Great outside runner. I think he's got good vision. He's tough. You know how Jerick McKinnon was like tough, even if he wasn't physical. He ran about as hard as a little dude could. Similar thing here. So why is he being undervalued? Because he weighs 190 pounds, because he only had something like 350 carries in 5 years. And I just think people are worried about him holding up and like running in between the tackles and pass pro. What I would say about this dude is just don't run him in between the tackles, really. Put him in that Jerick McKinnon role. Use him as a true third down back who gives you some pop in the passing game, gives you some explosiveness, and hope that he can hold up in pass protection. This guy's going to be around late. I think PFF has him at like 180. Dane Brugler has him as their 30th back. I know we talked about running backs last week. As we get closer and closer to the draft, have you kind of cemented your ideal strategy for the running back position? Do you want them to get one early? Do you want them to wait to the middle rounds? Do you want them to double dip late? Which avenue, like choose your own adventure, would you roll with?
Devin Neal in the 4th.
Okay.
Devin Neal in the 4th. That's the answer.
Exceptional player. Any concerns about playing devil's advocate here? Mileage, long speed, any of those things?
None.
Okay. So
I'm
if you're
a
not
confident man.
If you're not concerned about those two things, then he's great. And you complete the trifecta because you got Nick Bolton, you got FAU, and now you have a KU player. So that was what, if they're collecting local Infinity Stones, maybe they can get an Iowa State player too. Let's move on to number 3. This guy is kind of the evolution of this thing the Chiefs have been flirting with Dontari Poe and Colin Saunders. So JJ Puggies. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. It's spelled P-E-G. It's spelled P-E-G-U-E-S. Puggies, I guess, is how you say it. Kind of not really rolls off the tongue, but he's a defensive
I don't want him.
tackle.
I'll stop you right here, Best. We don't want him. If we can't pronounce the name, I'm out. Sorry.
Hey, if we learned how to say Suamataia,
that's
fairly
easy.
effortlessly.
Kingsley Suamataia, Nico Remigio.
You should see my dad try to do Kingsley Suamataia. I mean, he might end up in the ER after trying to pronounce that. So defensive tackle / I guess you'd call him a short yardage back out of Ole Miss. My comp for him, you've spent time in Branson, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Jeez, just
I'm
shitting
kidding.
on
It's fun. I actually really enjoy it. I actually have a blast. What's it? Lake
Shitting on Missouri.
Taneycomo? Lake
Yeah.
Taneycomo? Yeah, it was Branson. They got great golf, actually. Honestly, Branson's a blast. It's fun to make fun of it a little bit because it is cheesy in the amount of pictures that are taken with the fake but you're in jail photos. It makes me chortle a little bit, but overall, Branson actually is a lot of fun.
It kind of is cornball Nashville. I won't lie. But it's
our cornball Nashville, damn it.
It is. And I grew up very close to Branson and spent a ton of time there. And my comp for him is those dual purpose duck tour buses that turn into boats. You know, they work on, they're big and they work on land and they work on water. If you've ever been in a duck, I think a lot of people probably have been on one of those tours. So that is my comp for him. He was recruited as a tight end, but converted to a defensive tackle. And like I said before, he moonlights as a short yardage back. He's nicknamed the Mayor as an Oxford native who stayed at home to go to Ole Miss. Love a good nickname, the Mayor. You know, so many times we draft a guy and we're like, what are we going to call him? What's a good? Patrick Mahomes doesn't even really have a good nickname. You know what I mean? Travis Kelce doesn't have a good nickname, you know, but Chris Jones, Stone Cold Jones, that's cool. We like a good nickname here in Kansas City. We like a DT. We like the human joystick. I mean, come on, you got to have that nickname. So he's got a rare quick first step, great lateral agility. For someone who's 320 pounds at 6'2", very stocky, he moves well. I think he excels at getting under people's offensive linemen's pad level because he's short, stocky, and explosive. And this is why I really like him. Andy Reid has been flirting with this idea of the big goal line. I mean, the big goal line and short yardage back for a long time. We didn't see enough of it with Colin Saunders. I think there was some meat left on the table, but at Ole Miss, he had an 85.7% conversion rate, 18 for 21 in short yardage as a running back. He had 7 touchdowns last year. Andy Reid struggles. You know, he's a genius on 3rd and 9. On 3rd and 1, not so much, right? So I think a guy like this could be another tool in the toolbox without having to draft an actual fullback or keep a fullback on the roster. High motor and high character guy. You love that. Why is he being undervalued? I think he's being undervalued because the recent switch from tight end, I think that results in inconsistent technique, limited experience on the defensive line. I just want to hear your thoughts on this kind of Dontari Poe, Colin Saunders at fullback role. Do you like it? Do you think it's garbage? Do you fall somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, I don't think Andy would do that very much. I just don't. Maybe here and there. But I don't hate it on paper. I don't hate the thought process of it, but I just don't know how much we'd actually see it.
Give him 15 touches a season. I think it would be worthwhile if he could also be a rotational depth piece on the defensive line who gives them good value in short yardage offensive situations. That would be why I think he'd be worth, you know, he's not going to be a high pick or anything. I don't know if he's going to go in the 4th or where. Let's move on to number 4. This is Eugene Asante, the linebacker out of Auburn. My comp for him is the Tasmanian Devil on a sugar high. This dude is wild. He is all over the place. Last week, we talked about Bruce Feldman's freaks list. Bruce Feldman is someone, did I say Breast Feldman? Freudian slip there, guys. So Bruce Feldman has covered college football for a long time. He does this annual thing called the freaks list, where he takes the top 100 or 101 players or whatever it is, who are the craziest athletes in college football. And he does a list from top to bottom and compiles all these tidbits about them. So Asante, who's only like 220 pounds, he's kind of like small for a linebacker. He squats over 600, benches over 400, blazing 4.4 40, very fast for a linebacker. He's been clocked in GPS at over 22 miles per hour. His brother was a former NFL safety for a while, and I think he has the same kind of ranginess. I think he's a madman when it comes to getting downhill. We know the Chiefs like that. Leo Chanel is the same way. Nick Bolton's the same way. He's extremely disruptive as a pass rusher for the position. I think we've seen some of that in Drew Tranquil. I think we've seen some of that in Willie Gay. So the Chiefs probably would like that too. I'm not going to sit here and sell him as some great coverage player. He is certainly not that at this point, but I think he has the tools and he's a leader. I keep gravitating to these guys who are going to be good cultural fits. And at Auburn, the entire team adopted his motto, let's work. You got to love that kind of guy, right? Real lunch pail kind of player. He's being overlooked primarily because of his undersized frame and he lacks discipline. You know, he's super aggressive, probably aggressive to a fault, but I like the tools. I just think the guy's an animal. He's fun to watch. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the linebacker position. Should the Chiefs just be like, hey, we've got Tranquil and Bolton and Chanel and Cochran. We're good for this year. Let's worry about this position later. Or do you think they should start thinking ahead?
I think start thinking ahead, and I'm totally okay with them drafting another linebacker. I don't think the Nick Bolton extension means you don't draft a linebacker, but to me it means, okay, Nick Bolton's there, but what about Leo? His contract is up. Next year's his final year, right? And then next year is also Drew's final year. So you want to get ahead of it early, and you can probably get out of Drew's contract after this year. So, I think drafting a linebacker to me makes a ton of sense.
Man, when you said that it's Leo's last year this upcoming season.
No, I think it's next year. Right?
Oh, I don't know. I think he's been with us. He's been with us 3 years, man. He's got one left.
Then his final season would be this one. Yeah,
we hardly know ye, right? We hardly know ye. I mean, it seems like he just got here, and perhaps that's because Spags is kind of like baby stepped it with him, and he's kind of a part-time specialist right now. Your point is super solid because the money invested in Nick Bolton, the Chiefs can't afford to sink another big contract into this position. So they're going to have to either find steals on free agency again, like Drew Tranquil, or they're going to have to keep drafting the position. I think they're going to have to draft the position. I'm fine with it as long as it comes third round or later. I don't really want them to pick any more second round linebackers. It's fine that they did it with Nick Bolton. It's worked out fine, but let's just stick with other positions for now. And unless the dude from UCLA slips to 63, Carson Schwarzenegger. He kind of plays like a Schwarzenegger. So number 5 is Zah Frazier, cornerback, University of Texas, San Antonio. I think it's Zah. It's Z-A-H is his first name. My comp for him is a pterodactyl who hasn't learned to fly yet. And why is that? It's because he's 6'3" with 33-inch arms. This is a corner with 33-inch arms, and he runs a 4.3. So I'm seeing a poor man's Reek Woolen, a dollar store Reek Woolen, same kind of like attributes and build when you have the kind of like the length and speed combo with run and press corner traits. I think he's a great closer on tape. Just pull him up. I think he finishes strong. He's kind of got wide receiver skills. When people talk about him and you read about him, that you just keep seeing he plays the ball like a wide receiver. He plays the ball like a wide receiver over and over again. He's a ball hawk. He had 6 INTs in 2024. And I think he's got fairly fluid hips. I think you want that in a press corner who's going to turn on the boundary and run with a lot of these receivers and be isolated out there. So why is he being undervalued? Because he's an older prospect with limited starting experience and raw technique. But I think where he's going to go, 6th, 7th round, and Asante is probably going to go pretty late too. I think the juice is worth the squeeze with him. So that is the inaugural and perhaps only all-wacky team list. Final thoughts at cornerback for the Chiefs. Do you think it's an area of need, or should they just stay put for now?
Yeah, not need this year, but for the future, for sure. A lot of guys coming up on their final year of their contract this year. Williams, Watson, Nazi has 1 year left. I mean, Christian Fulton's only 2-year deal. They got to get an extension done with Trent McDuffie. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, and the Chiefs, for as good as we've talked a lot about how good they've been late in drafts, drafting corners. But if they would have hit on Kamal Hadden last year, you wouldn't have had to sign Christian Fulton, which meant you probably could have kept Justin Reed. I mean, you pull the string and all the yarn comes with it. So yeah, I think taking a corner and maybe even two in this year's draft, I think is fairly important, actually.
I'm in total alignment with you there. I think they just need to perpetually reload that corner room with late corners. You don't necessarily have to do a Trent McDuffie thing again, but give Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo a little bit of clay to work with, and they will mold you a great sculpture. They've shown that time and time again. They're miracle workers back there with corners. For my money, they're the best in the league at taking unheralded late round corners and turning them into starters. We've seen this so many times, from Charvarius Ward to L'Jarius Sneed to Jalen Watson. It is a clear trend at this point. That's all we've got from our segments. Before we go, Sterling, tell us what's spinning for you right now.
Yeah, the new Turnpike Troubadours album, The Price of Admission, just came out on the 11th. Phenomenal album. Love Turnpike Troubadours. This one is a lot better than A Cat in the Rain. This one kind of came out of nowhere, but The Price of Admission by Turnpike, just phenomenal.
All right, awesome. For me, it is DJ Koza. He is he's kind of an eclectic DJ, electronic music producer out of Germany. He's got, what's the new album called? Music Can Hear Us. I always forget the name of this. I'm just loving it, man. That kind of music is hit or miss for me, but this is just great background music. Put it on when I'm writing, put it on when I'm doing dishes. I love music that just fades in the background and feels like, no skips, basically. No skips. You just let the record play all the way through and almost forget it's there, even if it's, kind of injecting you with some energy. So it's that kind of album for me. That's all we got for you guys. Thanks to the chat. You guys always bring it. You keep us honest. You keep us entertained. If you dig AA, there are several ways you can help us. First off, subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube. We're going to be bringing you coverage live on draft night. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will be here, I don't know, for hours, rotating in the gang and guests. Will you be here? I know you got a birthday like that.
I assume I'll be here on the 24th. I assume I'll be here at some point.
Okay, awesome. So subscribe so you don't miss that. If you're an audio listener on either Spotify or Apple, you can find us there. Of course, leave us a review. 5 stars would be appreciated. And if you do that on Apple, leave a question and we'll answer it on Thursday's OG Hour. I'm actually on tomorrow with my good buddy Patrick Allen for the first time in a while. Excited about that. Don't forget about arrowheadaddict.com, the mothership. Matt Connor and his crew over there are going to just be churning out content up until all the way into the 31st pick. So they will keep you in the know. I would usually say, join us live next Wednesday. I got so excited, I almost knocked over my mic here. But now I'm saying, join us live next Friday, not at 5 p.m. Central, but at 3 p.m. Central. And why that's so exciting this week is we're going to be able to talk about the first round of the draft that just happened and the upcoming second and third round that are mere hours away. It's going to be very exciting. Until then, go Chiefs.